What is freaking good, YouTube? Warstu here with a video on the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It looks like Marvel is pushing so hard, starting with Deadpool and Wolverine next month. Then they're going to start production for Avengers 5 early next year. And it looks like Marvel could be getting back on track based on a lot of unofficial information coming out courtesy of trades like Deadline, and some pretty cool information coming out, hints, teasers coming out from the few trusted insiders like Alex Perez, so on and so forth. So we're going to talk about the future of Marvel because it might be getting good again. So if you are new around here, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the Marvel, DC, Kaiju, pop culture based content that I try to cover on a daily basis. If you could subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on and let us know down below. Are you freaking excited for Deadpool and Wolverine? Of course you are. But the more important thing is, are you invested after that? Because it looks like Marvel's original plan isn't going to work out now because they've realized that no one cares for these new characters based on poor performance movies and poor viewed Disney Plus shows. So, if you want to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful voice, check us out on Instagram at Warstu. And if you want to follow me on my smallest platform, which is twitter.com, because Elon Musk can't afford to swap it to x.com, then why change it at all? Follow us over there, Warstu G. So earlier this week, very early, the 4th of June, nearly a week ago, we had an article come out on Deadline that said potentially Sean Levy is one of the top directors for Avengers 5, which is kind of odd because sure, he's done a lot of good work, but doesn't matter how well it's screen tested with Disney execs. They need to wait to how well the actual Deadpool 3 movie performs before they come out and go, yo, Sean Levy is going to be directing the next Avengers movie, and it looks like they will be starting production early next year. So in that same article, out of nowhere, it came out and said 60 MCU characters comprise a role, including the likes of Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Hiddleston, Simu Liu, Karen Gillihan, and also the likes of Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Chris Evans, Jeremy Renner, so on and so forth. And then you had a lot of scoopers going, no, actually, I heard it was 65 characters. Well, I heard it was actually 145 characters, and characters are returning that we've never even heard of. And then the same article went on to say, it's not sure if Kang is going to be a part of Avengers 5. And I was like, get out of here. Even if you've watched the end of Loki Season 2, it can't drop Kang. Because, yeah, just because Kang the Conqueror at the end of Ant-Man 3 disappeared into what was supposed to be the Beyondverse, then he comes back as a variant of Kang being the Beyonder. The TVA was still monitoring the Kangs. And they've been setting up this multiversal storyline technically since Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange 2, and Loki Season 1. So even if Kang the freaking Conqueror is not going to be the overall villain going forward, they cannot get rid of Kang fully. They can maybe bring Doctor Doom in, or bring the Beyonder in, or bring Eternity in, because everyone seems to think the title now is Eternity Wars, because they're basically backtracking on all the other plans, which is interesting, because when you actually look what they're saying, it's not really much different. It's going to be an ensemble cast. There's not going to actually be a main Avengers team. Well, if that's the case, then why does it look like Sam Wilson is going to be recruiting right at the end of Captain America 4? Spoilers. Looks like he's going to be recruiting a new Avengers team. Sorcerer Supreme Wong is apparently going to appear in it. So it does look like they will be forming some variation of a new Avengers team. But I think Marvel knows that people don't care for these new characters. So it looks like they're just going to throw everything at Avengers 5 and Avengers 6, at the moment being called Kang's Dynasty on the official Disney slate, and Secret Wars is Avengers 6. But what happens after that? So the most recent rumor is some of these characters are actually going to stick around and won't all die in Secret Wars, because we know this is all building to some incursion war, some multiversal war, where essentially everything will be rebooted and we're getting new Fantastic Four, new X-Men, and a bunch of new Marvel characters, and maybe some of them will stick around. So Alex Perez has been saying some things recently, and it's worth saying. He's pretty legit when it comes to getting information right, even if he's just spitballing. It's almost like he knows what he's saying because he already knows it's true. So he was asked some questions, and he came out with some pretty interesting and obvious kind of answers. So someone said, do you think Secret Wars will become 2 films, and therefore 3 Avengers films in this saga? He said, I suspect Secret Wars may be heading into 2-part territory for a number of reasons. The main reason that there is too many stories happening plot-wise that can't really be condensed into 2-hour runtime. One thing I even heard through the grapevine was the idea of having more than one central antagonists. So yeah, the film will be split. I mean, yeah, respectfully, that's just obvious information. It was never just going to be Kang. We've always heard that the Beyonder was potentially going to be involved with Kang and potentially some other characters. But if they're going to follow the comics, then yeah, Doctor Doom, the Beyonder, and a bunch of other characters would have to actually be involved. So another person asked this question, what is the probability of a new name of Avengers 5? It's worth saying Disney has recently updated the schedule and it's still called Kang's Dynasty. But what he said, I mean, if they change it, it's kind of obvious. He had this to say, what I can say is I'm hearing Avengers 5 will be a multiversal film, which it always was, with a particularly grounded story involving multiversal elements. It can't really be grounded if it's a multiversal element movie. In all likelihood, the safest route would be to split Avengers Secret Wars into 2 parts. However, I will take the opportunity to mention about a possible adaptation of elements from Avengers Assemble, Avengers Forever event, which is a storyline involved in a multiversal Council of Mephisto variant known as the Council of the Red, multiversal masters of evil, and an Avengers team up to save the day before all of existence is destroyed. I might have to look into the storyline given Mephisto's coming introduction into the MCU, but it might be an interesting story to adapt heading into Secret Wars. Like I say, Alex Perez, it's not like everything he says is true, but he has got the best track record when it comes to literally all the scoopers by a mile. Easily the best track record. Then he was asked, which comic would you recommend anyone interested in the future MCU? He said, obviously Secret Wars. He's most likely on about the most recent one. Then he said, A Time Runs Out, which most people seem to think will be a variation of Doctor Strange 3, or even Avengers 5. And then he went on to say, I've heard through the grapevine elements of Avengers Assemble, Avengers Forever event might be interesting to look into. People really want to look ahead beyond the Secret Wars and beyond the soft reboot. They should probably look at Eternals Volume 3. Then in the same article, he went on to say a few other things, which is interesting. So someone asked a question about the recent Sean Levy potential direction for Avengers 5. Then he went on to say the following. Loki and Sylvie are obviously going to play a role in the upcoming Avengers movie. That's an idea that's definitely going to come to fruition. As for how big their roles might be, it wouldn't be wise for me to say how big their roles are, since things are always vary in pre-production and then post-production. I mean, Loki's holding everything together, so he's kind of got to show up in at some point. And if the 60 characters is true, Loki is a fan favorite. I think most people like Sylvie. It is pretty interesting how Marvel are essentially backtracking massively to the point where they're basically just going to throw everything at everything, in the sense of bring back all the characters that people want, make it a simpleton story. And then Marvel just seems a bit all over the place at the same time, because now there's a report saying that Red Hulk and Hulk are going to fight each other very soon. Some people seem to think it's going to be in Captain America 4. Very much doubt that. That would be a massive L, but obviously they don't own the rights to the Hulk, so they can't do a standalone Hulk movie. It would be cool, but currently the Hulk's Professor Hulk, and Red Hulk would absolutely body him. So it would be interesting in that aspect. But if they do change the title of the Avengers movie to Incursion War or Eternity War, it does seem pretty cool. But I can't buy into that it's a grounded level movie when it's a multiversal movie. It's still going to be about all the heroes trying to save the multiverse. Ultimately, they will lose, but it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. We know the incursions are coming, so it being an Incursion War movie would make a lot more sense. We've seen what happened in Doctor Strange 2. We see Clea come back right at the end of Doctor Strange 2, because Doctor Strange has caused some incursions. We've seen what happened at the end of Captain Marvel 2. It's all there. It's all pretty obvious, but for some reason, the general audience don't seem to care, based on the last few movies for Marvel. So it seems that Marvel are just going to throw everything at Avengers 5 and a 6, which they should do, and hopefully they split it up. The more Avengers movie, the better. But if these 60 characters are true, then the frickin' budget is going to be crazy, sky high, respectfully. I think the budget will have to be so high for that movie. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram at Warstu, check us out on Twitter, Warstu G, and I'll catch you in the video, guys, very soon. Catch you later.